Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a decorative cross. Now, this decorative cross is a wall hanging cross. It can be put up on a mantle. You could weld it to a little bit of a stand. There's a lot of different things you can do. This particular one is going to be made to take and be held up on a wall as a piece of wall art. Now, excuse me, I got a bit of the sniffles here. It's cold and flu season right now during these days, so that's beyond the point. Let's get back to what we're doing. Anyways, as you can see, I've already got some pre-laid out marks already marked out, and I'm going to take you through this process real quick of what we're going to be doing. So on this end here, this cross, I'm going to take and draw in some lines. The lines, I'm just going to use a black permanent marker, and we're just going to draw a straight line straight back to the tip, and then we're going to put in a curved line here. These are just reference marks. You just draw them in to where they look good. And that's how we're going to lay out that bit right there. Next step, we're going to come in and we're actually going to chisel this nice and cold like. So we're going to lay this out cold. Now you don't have to put down a cutoff plate or anything like this because we're not chopping all the way through. Again, if you're not sure about your abilities and being able to do this, then don't do it. We'll wait until you got a cutoff plate and do it that way. So we're just going to come in and we're going to lay out with our butcher tools here. We've got a straight butcher. Hopefully y'all can see that just fine. We have what we call a straight butcher. And we're going to butcher the material away from that center vein. So I'm going to come to one side here. And I'm going to give it a mark. And just stay to the side of the line. We're not trying to cut down the line. We're just trying to put a little layout here just to the side of the line. Hopefully you guys can see that developing there. We're going to go to the other side. Again, we're aiming for the side of the line. Again, these are just meant to be layout marks, so you don't have to go full out with them here. They're just supposed to be deep enough that you can easily find them once the piece is hot and go to town chiseling. So we're going to do that on all these marks, cold first, and then we will come in and hot butcher all these pieces like we're supposed to. So I'll go ahead and start chiseling this in, getting the layout marks. The biggest thing is to make sure your layout marks are nice and even. So you don't want to get a bunch of double jump cuts and things like that. So take your time with this process. We want to have these marks nice and even and take our time. Like so. So now that you have that done, now we're going to go ahead and heat this piece up. I'll be right back with you. And we're going to start chiseling each one of these and deepening them to look like this. So now that we've got that work done, as you can see in the video, it's just really putting in chisel lines. Now you can do whatever type of lines you'd like. I really like doing these butchered in lines. They give a lot of dimension to what would have otherwise been just a flat piece, and it's going to give it a lot of pop. Now I'm going to be leaving this fairly plain. Now you can texture this whole piece, you can, do some scalloping on the edges, but I would caution you on a piece like this that you can get too ornate to it, that everything just looks blasé. So I wouldn't overdo it. Think of negative space. You want to have some nice negative space to this. This is going to be a wall hung piece. It's going to be seen from across the room, so don't go overboard. Now we need to take and texture this back plate a little bit. Again, I'm going for something simple. Since this is going to be riveted to this piece, I'm not trying to take and go overboard with this. So let me show you what I mean by that. By the time those two pieces are together, hope I can squeeze this hard enough, it's already going to have quite a bit of pop sticking out from the wall, and you've got to think there's going to be 4 rivets in this piece as well, and so therefore I'm going to leave it pretty simple. But the back plate does need some form of texture, so this way I think it would look a little bit better. So what I'm going to do with that now is we're going to go all around this piece, and we are going to take and texture it. We're going to texture it all around the edges by just giving it a simple hammer bevel all the way around. That's it. It's not going to be a real straight hammer bevel. It's just, we're just going to let it be what it is, and that's going to break up the outline enough to give the back plate just a little bit of interest. Now, as this scales up in the forge, it'll develop its own surface texture that will look nice whenever we take and brush it off and go in for the highlights. So at this point, I'll go ahead and tell you, because I forgot to mention it at the beginning, there will be a link in the description for these blanks right here. The company I got them from over there, I believe this was on eBay. There'll be an eBay link down there in the description, and you guys can go check that out. They are not a sponsor of the channel. The company that I've done this through, this is just I purchased these with my own money, so full disclosure there. But they did do a nice job of sending them to me in a reasonable amount of time when I ordered them. So again, that'll be down in the description down below. That is an affiliate link, so since it's an affiliated link, it will go to help support this channel and what we do here on YouTube at no additional cost to you. So that's a great way of supporting the channel and getting you some pretty cool blanks to work on this. Also, there's always the other option. You can come up with whatever design you like, print it off the internet, and cut it out of your own sheet of paper, and paste it and do all that good stuff. This just happens to be easier because somebody's already done a lot of the cutout work for you. All right, without further ado, I'm going to get this hot. We're going to get this forged around, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so after some drilling and pinning in my first 2 rivets, this is how far we've come. I'm going to show you how I rivet this up, and I'm going to explain a little bit about what I did off camera here. Now, as you can see, I finished up doing all the texturing, and then it's just a simple matter of drilling the first cross first, laying out all your holes however you want your rivet pattern to be. You can do as many rivets as you like, whatever you think is decorative. Again, I challenge you to think of the negative spaces and don't go overboard with something like this. Sometimes less is more on a project. But what I did is I drilled a hole. I came in, I marked all these and center punched them about 3/4 of an inch or 20 mil in from the bottom of my chisel lines where they came in on the fleur-de-lis here. And then I went ahead and drilled my first one, my top one. I got that all lined up perfect where I wanted, drilled this, and then drilled it all the way through. And what that allows me to do is that allows me to pin this point in. Now that's one less hole that I have to worry about. Then I come down to the opposite end, get this lined, swiveled this, got this in alignment, and drilled that all the way through, and then allowed it to be countersunk on the backside as you saw in the video. Now that little countersink's important because when we put our rivets through, we want our rivets to pan out into there and not really stick up above the surface of the material. We want these to be flush rivets. Again, this is going against the wall. So we definitely don't want a head on these or to have a big domed head on the back side of these. This is going to sit flush against the wall. So after that's all being said, now these two can just be riveted in at will. And the material will not shift around any that would impede the next rivet from getting in there. To do that, we're going to be using this rivet block. I'll put a link in the description down below. And I'll try to put a card right here for this rivet block. I made this in another video and all the tools centered around it. In fact, I'll just put the playlist link here instead so you can check out the riveting playlist. So just slip our rivet in like so. You can see it on the back side. And we're going to rivet this down. I'm using a small cross peen, but we're going to use the face of the cross peen. Good heavy blows to just knock that down in there and just make sure it doesn't jump up out of the little depression and get a cut line on the rivet head itself. And there you go. That one's all riveted up. I may take the time once this other one's in here. I may take the time to planish that down a bit more, but we don't want to go too far because you can stretch that material. Get the other one in there, flip it over. Find the right size depression and rivet that flesh down. So there you have it. Now obviously the last parts to this is to spice this up however you please. However, I'm just going to take a file and just highlight just the edges of this to give it a bit of a pop look to it. And then I'm probably just going to, you know, kind of clean it up and let it be either a brass brush finish or just kind of heat blue it a little bit to give it that little bit of contrast. Again, you can do whatever you like with it there. You can expect to sell these for right around $75 to $100 depending on your local market. I made a video where I did a cross. I'll put the link in the description down there. And I'll put it up here. I made a cross previously, same concept as this, but just a little bit bigger. And I put $65 on that cross. Basically, we just did some texturing and scalloping of edges. Put $65 on that cross, and some guy had said in the comments section, "Oh, you'll never sell it for that much." I ended up turning around and selling that on my website for right around $200. So, again, it just depends on what market you're in and if the market will bear those prices. That's why I said 75 to 100 bucks. You should be safe to sell something like this. They don't take that long. They're not too difficult to do. And with having them pre-plasma cut out, that's really a handy trick. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to get back to forging. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you'd love to take and support this channel more, you can always check out our website, blacksmithpdfs.com, and consider signing yourself up for a business e-course on selling your blacksmith goods and or a power hammer plan or bundle. That is a great way of supporting this channel and everything that Jessica and I do. So without further ado, God bless you all. And as always, we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.